What is going on, guys? It's MrAeroHD here, back with a different video today. So I had found, just through going through Twitch, a Forza Horizon Drift League, and if you guys know, on Twitter, I've been pretty vocal that I just don't think Horizon is a game where you should be competing against each other. I don't know, I think it's just too easy. So I watched these guys on Twitch, and I was like, you know, if I'm gonna sit here and make this claim, I might as well back it up. And you know, and they had one event left in the season. It was at the parking lot in Horizon, which is where I would prefer to drift rather than on sections with traffic and whatnot. So I tossed my hat in. Qualified 6th, was driving the Jag. I could have drove something like the Torque Stallion or something wide body, but I figured as our last competition before going into Forza 7, might as well stick with the Jag, because I don't know what's going to be happening with the Jag in Forza 7. It really depends on how competitive the other chassis are. And I got my eye on an S13. Anyway, qualified 6th, and ended up coming out against KA Lives Matter again. I don't really know this series. I don't know the drivers. The rules are different. So it was really interesting for me to jump in basically blind into a series for the first time in a long time. And get some real practice in battling. And yeah, so here's our first battle here against KA Lives Matter in the S14. So of course I'm in the Jag. I qualified a little bit higher than KA. KA qualified in 11th. Unfortunately, his downfall here would be his car choice. He ended up choosing, as you guys can see, the kooky S14. Not a bad car per se, but from what I was told, he built it basically like a street legal car. My car, of course, is a competition car, so he spins there. Not like it would have really made a difference. I kept looking behind me, and I realized that I just had a huge gap, so I was like, oh cool, all I have to do really is just run the course. Actually, a really good way to show you guys the course here. I just want to say a shout out to T-Dubs, the owner and runner of Forza Horizon Drift League, for letting me use this footage. He's the one who shot it all. He commentated it all on Twitch. If that's probably why I have everything muted. I might leave some stuff in. I don't know how I'm going to edit this video out yet. It's going to be a long one, spoiler alert. But yeah, that was our first run, so we're going to go ahead quickly into my chase run. In my chase run, well, I knew he was a lot slower, so I was really just trying to get close, and I figured I can get close but not hit him. As you can see here, I am struggling, and I had the brake bias in the Jag set way far back for something like a 54% to the rear. So every time I hit the brakes, I would just straighten out and straighten out and straighten out and straighten out. So at this point, passes are legal in this series as long as there's no contact. So right here, I was like, you know what? Either I'm going to keep straightening out or I have to do something big. So I just got on the gas and see ya. A little bit of contact, but the judges determined that I had passed him before and already made the move. So according to other drivers, that was the move of the season. Not to brag, but yeah, this battle will end up going to me, and I'll be moving on in the winners bracket. Next up here against J West 82 in the HKS GTR. This battle was in the rain. I think it was the only battle in the rain that I ran, and I just didn't drive well. First of all, in my follow, I was expecting Jay to be, I did a little bit of practice with him, expecting him to be a lot quicker. I don't know if he was playing mind games with me or what was going on, but every time I was like, all right, cool, I can dive in, he just slowed right down. If that was his strategy to try to get me to make mistakes, it's smart. It's the way to drive. It was very frustrating to follow. So I was just struggling. I didn't really know what to do here. I was like, I got to get close, you know, because if I don't get close, it just looks like crap. And I do know he's quick on the follow, so again, I just think he was playing mind games with me, which again, it's a 1v1, that's what you want to do, but not my best follower on a lot of mistakes, and a couple of mistakes on my own part. So here's my lead. All right, so I'm leading this one. My goal here was just to go as fast as I can. Ended up dropping a tire there, and like I said, Jay West was just fast when he needed to be fast. When on his lead run, he was just very angle checky, which is totally legal. Unfortunately, straightens out a little bit there. So did I. So it's basically even. And again, Jay West was the number 3 qualifier, so I was kind of in for a bit of a tricky battle anyway. But I'm just trying to take off as fast as I can. Unfortunately, we both have about the same mistake. And the way these battles are judged, it's not so much like ESDA where they kind of, at least to my understanding, it's not like ESDA where both battles are weighed in an overall whole. It goes run by run, so if one run's even, other one's even, they go OMT. If it's what the first run went to Jay West, the second one went to me, so we were going one more time. Again, it's just not really weighed of if you get slaughtered in the first run and then kind of lose a little bit in the second run, it's not, you still win. Different judging style. Again, not everyone's the same. So yeah, we were running one more time here in the second round. Second round of losers are winners. I'm trying to be smart here. I said I'm going to give him a bit of a gap. But like I said, he's just fast when he needs to be fast. And it was really, really off-putting. Jay West here just trying to take off from me. And I'm just trying to do my best to not get close and run him over. And then right there, he just very slow transition. And I tried to dive in on him. And then he just wasn't moving. Maybe just mistake on his part. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it was just mistakes or him just trying to get in my head. But he was getting in my head. Little bit of an early transition from here. I was going for that overtake again. Just because if I knew if I passed him, I'd be able to run my own run. But I was like, if I pass him and it's not clean, then there's nope. I should have just spun out because that's basically a 0. So finish out the rest of the run. I think again, disadvantage on my part, but the most I can do now is just go throw it all, balls to the wall, my lead. All right, so we're back in the lead position again. Second round of winners. I'm just trying to run away from the guy. When he led too, he would do like a 50 roll thing, and there was no 50 roll thing as far as I know. So I was trying to run away from him thinking he would do the same thing, but I guess he figured out that I wasn't doing the same thing he was. Trying to just be as fast as I can here, because I think that's my only advantage I have on him at this point. Again, didn't really warm up for this. I like got all the times wrong because it was running me excuses. He's doing a lot better than I did in the fall position. He's diving in the right places. He's doing a little bit of straightens, but, you know, I was very sloppy on my follow as well. But this is the only call I wasn't really sure on because Jay West ended up getting the win here. But, again, maybe my mistakes were just a little bit more. Maybe the failed overtake was not looked at very well. But I ended up getting kicked into second round of losers bracket. And that's where cool stuff started to happen. So here I was going against Exterior Guide 46, Exterior Guide being the champion who ended up getting crown champion. I just see him lagging here and I was like, well, what do I do? So I was just trying to keep a semi-good distance. He ended up pulling away a little bit. So I played catch up for this first half. Luckily, in the second half, other than my last couple of battles, I was very strong in the competition. But small problem in my room, where I sit, my router and my Xbox are all basically a straight line. So my router interfered with my controller disconnected, and I spun. And just like ESTA, if you have some sort of technical issue, it's viewed as a mechanical problem. And I finished the run out just so I didn't, you know, not finish the run out, do it for the fans. But yeah, I basically have a 0 going into run 2. So on the brink of elimination here, I just decided, you know what, I have to do everything I can in the lead run. I'm gonna try to be as smooth as I can, throw as much angle into the slower corners, and just gap them. And as you can see here, I don't know if it's because he's running the Twerk Stallion, which is a bit of a slower car, but got a football field in between me and him. Again, was nervous because this guy was leading the points. Again, I don't really know much about the drivers in this series. I just came across it on Twitch and or was like, I should probably run this. I want to stay frosty for ESTA. Again, big gap, and I'm seeing this. So I'm like, I don't need to do anything crazy. Just have to finish the run at this point. And I am the luckiest boy in the world because he throws it in a bit too hard and spins. So that's going to be a one more time, double zeros on both runs. And thank God, because this is where the run started. So again, second round in the second round, or first one more time, the second round of losers. I am aware of Exterior Guy's driving style now. So I'm like, I got to get close, but not too close because I know I'm going to have a serious advantage on my lead. I don't want to be an inactive chase. I don't want to make it look like I'm pussyfooting it. He does a little bit of a straight in there, and I was on the inside. I was going to try to pass him, but I realized it wasn't going to look cool, and it wasn't going to be a smooth overtake, so I shut the pass attempt down. You know, again, passing is legal in this series, which apparently is questionable between the drivers, but it was kind of cool just to have some sort of difference in rules. And a lot of times, especially when I was following that S14 earlier, I would not have won that battle if it wasn't for the legal overtakes. But I didn't think I was going to make the pass clean. I decided to just throw a clean, close-ish follow run, and here we are into the lead. Again, leading here, I'm already got a big gap, and that was just basically the story of the night. Was able to use the speed of my car to my advantage. He ends up gaining up a little bit of ground here, but definitely sacrifices line and angle for it. I'm just running my own line. I think at this point I've kind of just like, you know what, I think I've got this one in the bag as long as I don't make any major mistakes. A little bit wide there, ended up coming in tight for the second half. You can just see him. I don't know, again, I don't know if it's just a vehicle choice or his tune. He's struggling to try to keep up with me, and I'm just, you know, doing what I think I need to do and just putting down as much speed as I can. And turns out going into this last shuttle chicane, I have a huge lead, and that would wrap that up, and I'd take out the series champion and move on into losers quarterfinals against YouTube or YT Infusion. But luckily for me, he had some sort of issue, or it was ended up getting really late. I think it was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. We just had some technical delays and whatever. But Fusion was not able to compete, so I would get a bye run into losers semifinals against Gearhead, who was the 13th qualifier, and just not ended up having a hell of a night. But yeah, so I'm running up against Gearhead here in this S14. Again, my plan and my lead run for basically all night was just to do the best I could and try to get as much gap. This was the first car, Gearhead was the first driver that really, other than Jay West, test me in the follow position. So my job here, I dropped a little bit of speed there. Luckily, he didn't lose drift. I kind of did. Threw a big entry in here. Just again, I know I'm already at a little bit of a disadvantage. I'm just trying to drive as best I can. He is a little bit twitchy behind me, but he's maintaining a good proximity that no one else has really on me in the night. I think was the fastest driver out here today. Dives in there, a little bit of contact, then dives in again, I believe, yeah, and a little bit of contact. So I think, and he straightens out a bit. I think I have a pretty decent advantage here leading into my follow run. So yeah, I think I have an advantage. I'm not sure. Again, I've never played with these judges before. This is all new to me. So I just tried bringing everything I had to every run. Just trying to get close and impress the judges, but not get too close as to where if he makes a mistake, I'm going to pay for it. Transition a little bit early there, ended up using the foot brake. Made a little adjustment to my brakes in between runs. Just changed the brake bias and the brake pressure. It ended up really helping. He throws a big entry there. I never noticed that. Just trying to, like I did, just be smooth, maintain gap all the way around. End up getting a little bit closer here. But I think he's running a bit better in the lead position, and I kind of have moments of greatness here and there, and I'm dropping tires everywhere. So maybe I wasn't as consistent in the follow. Tried to get really close here and then just kind of washed out a bit. But yeah, that would see me getting the win, and I'll be moving on into losers. That was losers quarters. This is losers semifinals against T-John. T-John, turns out, comes to the live streams a lot, is a subscriber, so it was kind of cool to be battling somebody that I knew. But yeah, T-John is one of the better guys out here today. So this was, other than Jay West, I think my first real test. So I think I out-qualified T-John by like 1 or 2 spots. Again, same plan as always. I'm not really sure how T-John drives, so I'm just trying to get away from him as fast as I can. T-John sacrificed a bit of angle, but definitely catches up to me. And again, I'm looking back constantly through this whole run. I played a lot of defense on this. Again, with the legal passing rule, I think he was trying to go for an overtake, so I was trying to just block him as best as I could, throw a big entry in there. You know, trying to do basically what Jay West did to me, and just slow him up with angles so it looks cool on my end. And you know, he has to either adjust or suffer. Ends up working here a lot. You know, just how you have to make reads of these situations. Sometimes you're not trying to beat the track, you're trying to beat the guy behind you. And as a lead driver, there is things you can do. And I was trying to bring out all the stops to get this win and make it my way on to losers finals. Headed into my follow here. Again, I don't really have a significant advantage, so I'm still going all out. That's probably the closest entry I've had all night. I was trying to enter beside people, but I never really had a good launch. Closing up onto T-John here. Pretty similar in terms of runs. He doesn't have to drive as defensive. I wasn't really looking for overtakes at this point. I think that was his strategy on his follow, which ended up making my lead look a little bit worse. So I'm just trying to put down a really good follow run at this point. He ended up drops 2 tires, but I followed him. I go for a pass here, but it was not clean like the first one. I don't know if the camera angle showed it, but I definitely pushed him out of the way to make that pass clean, which went onto my detriment and gave him that second round. Apparently it was a tie in the first one, I believe. So we were going again one more time against T-John in loser semis. Run 2, and I was in the mentality of, if I've made it this far and it's like 4 in the morning, I am not leaving here without a win. So again, I'm just doing what I can from the lead run. I see that this time either I've got my shit together or T-John's feeling pressure because he's not as close as he was in his previous follow. So I'm like, cool, I don't have to worry about him. I can drive my line, which ended up working out way better for me because I think it was way faster. So I'm just trying to pull away from the RX-7 here. The Jag was feeling incredible all night. Definitely, I had this tune dialed. Not that tuning on Horizon is super difficult, but if you can get something that you can be smooth and stay on the power with. He tries to gain in there, but straightens up and hits me in the door. Ends up pushing me a little bit weird for my line. Offline here for him, and in my opinion, I had a big advantage going into the follow run here. So I'm going in to follow T-John. You know, I don't know how the judges work, so I'm just like, I can't take it easy. I have to go all out every time. You know, I didn't come out this far to not win. He's lagging everywhere, so just like before, I'm trying not to get too close, but if I don't get too close, I might risk losing. So I said, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna go yes, and I did a little bit of a backwards entry. Luckily, I didn't drop a tire at all. I had to go a little bit shallow, but I didn't really lose any ground, and in the stead of the judges, that would be the deciding factor in this run, because I didn't get too close. I was too scared to hit him, like from when he dropped out and dropped back in. At this point too, I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna get as close as I feel comfortable, and through this last corner, I'm just trying to get in his door and push him. So I don't know if that was good or bad, but the backwards entry there is what gets me into losers finals against Jay West again, and believe me, I wasn't letting him take another W on me. So yeah, turn 1 going against Jay West. This is the losers finals. He's the guy who ended up taking me out, so I really thought I was playing this game right. I gave him lots of room, but he just takes off. So I was like, okay, cool. I gotta drive defensive, catch up to him. Ended up taking a little bit shallower lines into corners than I shouldn't have. Just really struggling, and then right there, you can see where I don't know, again, where I was strong all night, just on the entrances to corners, very fast in my lead, or my follow, sorry. And then again, just wasn't ready for him to slow down, and all over his door, and he is fine, and I'm just struggling. This Jag in a situation like this did not cope well with running slow. You know, I had to either be on it or off it all night, and just unfortunately, not my best follow run, just played it a little bit too safe. And here we go on my lead. At this point, I was like, you know what, don't think I really did enough, and I really don't want to lose. But in my lead against him this time, I was driving much better. Had a lot of good battles under my belt. Trying to throw as much angle in the corners as possible. I figured I was low on the judge's standpoint, but he's basically driving in the same situation as me, but I am outshining him in the lead position. Just hitting clips as well as I can, not dropping tires, and he spins. So that is going to put us in the grand final against the top qualifier, who is Trent Figure. Had a lot of practice against Trent Figure in warm-up sessions leading up to this, so I was excited, a little bit nervous because I think we're the most evenly matched guys out there. And yeah, so we are in the grand finals. So 5 a.m. rolls around, and here we go in the grand finals of Forza Horizon Drift League. Trent does a little bit of a feint entry. I wasn't really ready for that, so he ends up spooking me, and I didn't really know what to do. Gets a huge lead here, so I'm on the catch-up again. This Jag was just super quick all night. Again, on these entries, I was not really second. I was really second to none on these entries when it comes to entry speed. But same situation as Jay West, but not as bad. I just was too quick. It was almost to my detriment. I wasn't really ready to catch the guys in front of me as fast as I was, and it just looked sloppy. I would just hit them in the door or straighten out, whatever. This, you won't see this on this footage, but on my camera, which we unfortunately don't have, there was a little piece of post there, and it just went boing and rejected me. So luckily, we had a rerun. You know, I said, hey, if Trent wants to do a rerun, we can do a rerun. And because apparently that's a rule in the rules, and Trent was like, cool, I'm about it. So jumping into the rerun here, I'm like, oh my god, thank you. I've never been so happy to get rejected by a piece of debris. But just a lot closer. I'm dropping a little bit more tires than I was before. Again, my mentality is just to stay at a safe distance, but at a cool distance. I don't want to make it look like I'm driving like a Pans. So right now he's just taken off from me. But then these slow motion corners, he straightens out there a little bit. I was just trying to throw his big angle. I almost went reverse there into that first hairpin. And this is about the distance I wanted to be at, but also, you know, once you see that person's door, you want to taste it. So he just slowed up there. I wasn't really ready for it, and I was struggling with that all night, and just couldn't really make a huge impact on my lead run. So here comes my I can't talk. My follow run. So here comes my lead run. Again, same plan as always. Just try and run. I see him doing his feint there, so luckily I get a big gap. He told me afterwards that he was having the same problem as me, where he climbed on people way too early, and then I did that and he was like, oh. So he's playing the catch-up game in my position, and I'm just trying to do what I've been doing all night. Big entry here, slowed down a little bit and ended up missing a clipping point, so it ended up not working out for me, which was kind of the theme of the night. I never really, every time I tried something cool, it really didn't work out all the time. It worked out when I wanted it to. Luckily, he had a big correction there, which is going to lead us into the blessed one more time. Here we go, one more time. Grand finals, still round one of grand finals. So I have to beat Trent twice here to end up taking the championship for the event. Definitely a lot closer. I'm learning Trent now. Not as well as I wanted to, because look at this dummy and hitting him in the door again. Not my best follow work here. Again, it was probably almost 5 in the morning. And the Jag, again, like I said, has a problem. Even if I clutch kick it, sometimes the torque is just not there. So I ended up straightening out there, and I'm playing catch up and just a very piss poor follow run, which is kind of unfortunate, because I thought against Trent, especially with that first round, where we had our where we ended up getting a one more time, I was like, I learned him, I'll be able to run against him better, but no, just not really good. So I had to bring it. Again, lead run here, had to really go all out. It was all or nothing here. Just luckily Trent drops a tire there, and just really didn't string in a good lead run here. I kept kissing these curbs, not really putting my car where I wanted to. Trent doing everything he needed to do in the follow position. Ended up keeping really good line for me. Wasn't really in super tight, but was in the pocket basically of where you would say it is still a good tandem. Missed a clip there, and I was like, oh god, I really not helping myself here. And I think at this point I just dropped, oh no, not there, I dropped a tire. I'm like, oh well, you know, it could still go either way. And then unfortunately I dropped 2 here, and I'm like, you know what, that's it. And it ended up being it. Trent taking the win. Definitely played myself there. I stuttered on purpose, by the way. Definitely played myself at the end, but those last 3 battles were not gimmies. You know, I really had to work for those, and thanks to FHDL for letting me come out. Thanks to all the drivers for the great battles, and it was really good to jump in and get some battle practice heading into Forza Motorsport 7. Now, what you're all wondering, is Forza Horizon a competitive game? What do you think now that you've, you know, competed and done a bunch of battles? Well, the 1v1 aspect is still there. You still have to learn your opponent and all that kind of stuff. Just the skill of driving is not as close. So I'm gonna say, yeah, it can be competitive in a certain criteria, as long as there's no traffic and like dumb stuff, because I still felt like I was playing, you know, I was still trying when I was doing this. It wasn't like, oh, easy peasy. I still had to use my brain and think. But when you're on Forza, the Motorsport series, you have to do all that as well as still try to drive the car sideways. So it's not as a quote-unquote competitive game as Forza 6, but I still had a lot of fun. And if you've never really gotten into battling, go check out Forza Horizon Drift League on Facebook. Definitely a really good place to start, especially if you're more comfortable with the Horizon physics engine. So go ahead and check them out. I'll leave all their stuff in the description below. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more Horizon stuff like this. I don't know if I'm going to do much more, but let me know if you liked the video. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.